Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today this is going to be a little bit different of a video. Maybe a quick review, not even review, a quick look slash story. This might be a sign of the watch addiction problem. Maybe I have a problem, maybe I don't. I don't know. I'm sure you guys will let me know. This is a watch that I purchased. I bought this watch about 4 years ago. I've had it for, I don't know, almost 4 years. It took a few months to get it, right? It's a pre-order thing from Borealis. But I never worn this watch. I mean, it's all wrapped up in plastic. So I'm not going to wear it. I wrote down the specs, some information here that I found out about it. So let's see here. I paid $350 for this watch in September 2018. Received it in January 2019. So yeah, I haven't worn it. So I guess this would be considered new old stock. Maybe I'll sell it as new old stock. I don't know. It's 4 years old, so I think that term's typically reserved for vintage watches. I mean, it's not like a Rolex or anything, right? It's just Borealis micro brand watch. I've always liked the 50 fathoms, and this looks very similar to a 50 fathoms, so that's the main reason why I bought it. So I'm just going to sell it as is. I'm not even going to put it on wrist or size or anything like that. So we'll just talk about the specs here. Check out the lume. And I guess that was a little short story there, not even 2 minutes long. So yeah, just I've been going through my collection looking for watches to sell. Got way too many of them, so finally finally got around to getting stuff together and getting it sold. So it's quite the process. It's not nearly as much fun as buying watches, but it needs to be done. So 120 click unidirectional bezel, as you can expect. And this is a sapphire bezel insert. So it looks like the old, I don't know, 1950s 50 fathoms that's when they came out, right? First dive watch, I think it was 1953. 53 sounds about right. I think the Submariner came out in 54. This beat the Submariner. I think the French Navy requested certain specifications, and Blancpain was the one to meet those specifications. I'm just going off memory here. I didn't research any of that. But this has the old radium lume. It has the date window. And I was going back and forth. I can remember now. I was going back and forth on buying this watch, and I waited too long. The one I wanted was the one without date, and I wanted the one with the white lume, not the old radium lume. So this is one of the ones that was left, and I went with this. I'm kind of mixed on how the handset is white and then the lume is that tan color. But I guess it would make sense. If your lume ages, the white paint may not age. So a domed sapphire crystal and a domed lumed the bezel insert. I don't know if I've ever even looked at this bezel insert in the dark being lumed. So looking forward to seeing that. It does have a Seiko NH35 movement. So hand winding, hacking, all that good stuff. So unscrewing the crown. First position will be hand winding. Next position will be a date set. What is that even? Oh, because we're getting close to midnight. So I'll move the handset. Let's move the handset out of the way. So pull the crown all the way out. Second hand has stopped. That's hacking. Let's move the handset. Get out of that danger zone. That should be good there. So push it back in. I'm in winding. Let's see which way do I want to turn it. There we go. So now the date window's moving. Yeah, so, and I'm a big fan of no date watches. And if it does have a date, I'd like to see it at 6 o'clock. And then my third choice would be 3 o'clock. I really don't care for the date window there. Right, let's move the handset back to 10:10. There we go. Crown feels nice. It is a signed crown, so this is a little bit different from how they do it now. This is an embossed crown. Now the crown is the B is embossed. Now the B is engraved on the Borealis watches. Actually, I have my Adraga here. So this is kind of the new style right there. So this watch is a little bit thick. It looks kind of thick in this dimension and then squashed down this way, kind of like a SKX in a way, but not as curvaceous, so it doesn't look quite as good to me. I really like the SKX, one of my favorite watches. Here we go. So this one does have printed indices. Let's zoom in. So everything on here is printed. Let's get this to focus. Ooh, dang it. Okay, sorry about that. Jiggle the camera around. Anyway, Borealis 300 ATM automatic. This is actually the version 2. They had a previous version that was on strap. It wasn't on bracelet. So yeah, $350 is what I paid for this thing 4 years ago, and I've never worn it. So time to let it go. Okay, let's zoom back out here. Solid links. I believe these are screw pins. The bracelet looks like it'd be pretty comfortable. The links are pretty small in size. 4 micro adjusts. See, so this would be friction. Yep, friction clasp. You have the old hook there, hook right there. I'm going to say the old hook and bar system. It works okay. Especially critical that it has a safety clasp, so it's not going to pop off wrist. And then it's engraved with the B here. So I'll put this on wrist. We'll take a look at it. Then we'll check out the loom. So yeah, solid end links, solid links, milled stamped clasp. Let's look at the case back. So they are still using this Mermaid. Borealis Watch Co. Seastorm 2. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know the name of this watch. I found it going through stuff here. Going looking for watches to sell. And then 300 meters water resistance. Got the Black Bay on wrist today. Black Bay 58. One of my favorite watches. I don't really have one favorite watch. I have maybe a top 10. I should do a top 10 list of my collection one of these days. There we go. Don't want to break a nail on that. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good on my 6.5 inch wrist. Actually, I didn't even take the dimensions, so I'm going to pause the video, grab my calipers, and we'll take the dimensions on camera here. Alright, so I grabbed all the dimensions. We'll talk about that in a moment. Can't remember where I was at with the wrist shot here. Yeah, but overall, I really do like the looks of this watch. Again, as it looks very similar to the 50 Fathoms, which I have never owned one of those. I don't know if I ever will. They're quite expensive. So there we go. Oh, it didn't work out too well, did it? There we go. Okay, so I measured from the center link to center link, getting that at 53 millimeters, so that's quite large. And then 48.7 lug to lug, which is getting a little bit on the large side as well. 41.2 diameter. And then the thickness on this is quite thick at 14.2 millimeter. 300 meter rated dive watch. And then you have the Seiko NH35 movement in there, so that makes sense as far as the thickness. 20 millimeter lug width, and it does taper down to 18 millimeter. I think every Borealis watch I have had has those same dimensions, 20 tapering down to 18. And They all seem to use pretty similar clasp. A little bit updated now. They now have the dual pushers, but they all seem to have pretty chunky clasp. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and it helps me out a lot. Just looking at this watch again, I really haven't looked at it all that much over the past 4 years. So let's take a look at the lume on this and compare it to the trusty old SKX here. Alright, so on the left we of course have the Borealis Seastorm, and on the right my trusty SKX 009. The lume on the Seastorm actually looks better than I was expecting. This old radium lume. Typically when they have the Fotina lume, it doesn't look quite as bright at night or in the dark. Let's hit it with the UV one more time here. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with the lume on this. I thought it would not be this bright, so it looks to be on par with the SKX here. That will conclude this video. As always, thank you for your time and thank you for watching.